come see me on tour. Couple more cities before the end of the year. Cleveland next Friday at Hilarities, one of the best clubs ever. So if you live in Cleveland, come out to the show. And Sunday, I'll be in Philly. And this show is actually almost sold out already. There's like 50 tickets left. And we're, a week and a half away? So if you live in Philly, make sure to get your tickets. I'll be at Helium. Again, I've heard this is one of the best clubs ever. I've never been there. Can't wait. And then we take a couple weeks off for Thanksgiving. And then I'm back at it. I'll be in Denver December 4th at Comedy Works. Dream come true to be there. Tickets are flying. Don't wait to get them. It's on a Wednesday. And I can't wait. And then I go to Phoenix the next night at Stand Up Live, December 6th. Come through. And then the last date of the year is Zany's Nashville, December 18th. Dude, we're at the part of the tour where these are some of my favorite cities ever. So come out, man. I'm really excited for these shows. I can't wait to finish out the year in these places. And it's just, I'm excited. Can't wait to see you guys out there. And we're back with a new podcast. And I say we, but I mean me. And let's start it now. Well, here we are. I don't even know how long it's been since I put out a podcast. It's been a little while. And I hope everyone understands. That's just kind of how I've been doing things lately. I think doing the pod every week it wasn't sustainable for me. I think this is a better system to do it kind of every couple of weeks. And I'm excited to be here, man. I'm recording this on Wednesday and should have it out by the end of the day. And understandably, it's a weird day. It's a weird day to do a podcast about comedy. It's a weird day to just really think about or do anything other than the election. And, you know, the plan for the pod is I want to do recaps of my shows in Pittsburgh, in Buffalo, and Albuquerque, as I normally do. And I want to give you a couple life updates first, just some general checking in with Willie B. And then I wanted to also release a gang of new tour dates just for you guys at the end of the podcast. I've been calling them Save the Dates because a lot of these aren't on sale yet, but I want you to basically put the thing in your phone to be like, oh, don't book anything on this day because Will be in town. So again, I'm going to give you guys a ton of new tour dates as well as the date and location for my special that I'm filming. So that is going to come at the end of the show. And then it's all the election stuff where I feel weird not talking about it. And I was going to save it for the end, but it feels weird to put out a podcast today and just start talking about my shows on the East Coast. I just feel like I have to say something about what's happening. And, you know, I think a lot of people, well, let me say this. I did vote, and I voted for Kamala without even 1 millimeter of hesitation. So I want to get that out of the way first. And I don't even know where to start. Normally, what I have notes for kind of the shows and how they went and things that happened because oftentimes I forget. And for this kind of quick election couple of minutes, I don't have any notes. I'm just speaking purely off the dome. You know, I'm freestyling some election takes. It's just a real bummer, and I think a lot of people are feeling it today. I come from a very liberal household, and I was raised with very liberal values. And so when it comes to like Republicans and people, conservatives, I tend to steer clear of that politically. That's just how I was raised, and that's how I believe. That's what I believe in. And I really am feeling it for the women in my life. You know, I'm feeling it for Kaylee, feeling it for my mom, for my sister. You know, it's like women that'll be affected by, you know, the Republicans taking control of the Senate and the House, and now Trump being back in office. It's just like not a great time for women. And I really am feeling it for them most of all. And it just sucks. I just couldn't be more against that dude. And it's just crazy that he's back in office. And, you know, I didn't really I didn't post anything on social media just because when it comes to politics, social media can be such a yucky place, and people tend to just get very confident behind a keyboard and they say whatever they want. And I didn't want to involve myself in it. I did my part. I voted, and that's what I did. And so now I kind of want to use the podcast as kind of a time to be able to reflect a little bit. And just feeling not great. And it's just also like in almost like a funny way. It's crazy to me. I've been very disillusioned by politics over the last couple of years. Just the fact that not only that Trump was actually president, but also that that he can be like arrested for crime, like commit crimes, and still be president. It's almost hilarious that can still be a thing. It's like there should be a rule in the whatever, the Constitution, the law, whatever, that's like, hey, if you get arrested, you can't be president. And arrested on something pretty gnarly too. It's like, that's when I kind of like threw my hat out of the ring of politics, where I was like, oh, well, this whole thing's bullshit, so I'm not going to be involved. I'll vote, right? I'll vote for whatever person to not get Trump in office, but other than that, I'm out. It's just crazy. And I don't know. Those are really all the thoughts I have. It's just, it just sucks. And I feel for everybody who's going to be affected by this change. And I wish that we could have done more. And I wish I could have done more. There's not really much I can do other than just voting. So that's really all I want to say about it. Hope you understand why I wanted to comment on it. And let's talk about some sillier stuff, right? Or some exciting stuff. Dude, I'm going on vacation this weekend for the first time in years. Kaylee and I are going to Cabo at an all-inclusive resort. And I haven't gone on vacation like this in, dude, I mean, over 5 years, 6 years. It's been so long of just me nonstop working. And I always had this mindset of like, oh, I have to earn a vacation. I felt like I never really deserved one, because I was like, I'm not at a place where I want to be with my career, so I didn't earn this, which is a weird way to think about it. And I don't necessarily know if I agree with that at this point, but her and I would do these little getaways. We'd go to kind of drivable locations, but we've never flown somewhere and like had a vacation. And it's just going to be, I can't wait. Dude, the resort is so nice. We balled out for it, because I'm like, dude, if this is my first vacation in years, I'm balling, and I'm going to kind of unplug. I'm doing all the editing that I have to do for clips that I need to put out next week or whatever. And I'm going to be off my phone pretty much the whole time. And I just can't wait. This is, like I've talked about, I think probably on the last podcast, this is the part of the tour and the year that can be the hardest. It's some of the gnarliest travel, a lot of East Coast cities, kind of nonstop. And I've been pretty burnt out. And it's like the vacation can't come at a better time, especially right before doing these cities that I'm so excited to do. So I will come back now like rejuvenated and refreshed for such an important next month of my life. So I just can't wait. And it's been in terms of like me as a person, the last few weeks have been like up and down. I think I've been, it's hard to live in a permanent state of gratitude. And sometimes I feel guilty for having normal human emotions, because I am living this life where it's like, this is my dream and my dreams have come true and I'm actively living them, and it's unbelievable. But there's still things that take a toll on me, and I'm still doing everything myself and running around, and it's been a lot, and that's okay. That's what comes with it. I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. It's okay. So I think the vacation is coming at a very good time, and life be lifing, dude, I haven't done an Oso update in a long time. And I don't think anyone doesn't know who Oso is. It's our rescue dog who is 11, and he's a sweet, sweet boy. And really the only update for Mr. Oso is that he's stopped barking. He's just like a good boy now. He barely barks at us anymore. He used to woof us awake every morning at like 8 a.m. Like, get your ass up out of bed and walk me. And now he just waits until we are up. Or he'll kind of like push his face into the door and be like, and he just doesn't. Dude, he used to have night barks. Like every night at 10 p.m. he'd start barking and getting weird, and he just doesn't do that anymore. I think I maybe said this last Oso update, but we're not sure if he's just more adjusted and he's happier, or he's getting old. We don't know. But he's just a sweet boy. And I can't tell you how great it feels for for like Kaylee to have this companion when I'm on the road. You know, it's like having a dog is a lot of work. It's a lot of energy, but it's so nice knowing that when I'm gone, she has this like giant wolf dog who's there to kind of be there for her and keep her company and kind of protect her. And it just makes me feel really good. So, yeah, man, shout out to Mr. Oso. And shout out to Pittsburgh, bro. That's the first city I would really want to talk about. I did the Pittsburgh Improv a couple weeks ago, and I think it's the only. I always like to give the background of kind of how we landed there. I think that's the only club in Pittsburgh. I did it on my first tour, and it went really well. I think I sold 140 tickets, and I thought the show was really fun. The club staff was really cool. I just had like a really good experience overall. So I was very happy to go back. And you know, in terms of expectations, I had very similar expectations in terms of ticket sales just because of what happened last year. I was like, well, you know, I have this marker for myself that I want to hit, you know, between 150 and 200 in every city. That's my goal, right? And I think when I talked about Atlanta, that was like I almost hit it. I almost hit that 200 level. So, you know, with the increase in followers I've gotten, I've wanted the ticket sales to then follow that trend. Dude, in Pittsburgh, I stayed in, I think, the nicest Airbnb I've ever stayed in. And I attached some pictures here so you guys can check it out. It is like everything was brand new. It was just got renovated. It's like a new Airbnb, but enough. By the way, real quick, when you book an Airbnb and you pick one that has no reviews, you're nuts. You're nuts. Have a few reviews. Make sure this is not a murder castle, okay? Dude, no review. Just no one can give this a shot first. Make sure there's no danger. Like, yeah, I need some reviews first. But this place had been up for long enough that there was like enough reviews that were like raving about it. And I got there and it was awesome. They stocked the place with eggs and LaCroix as if I had a rider for the Airbnb. It was fantastic. It just, again, makes everything better. And I've been back and forth about, do I like Airbnbs? Do I like hotels? Sometimes I'm like, I like hotels more. But lately, bro, staying in the Airbnb was just fantastic. My buddy, I had a different opener this time. For the first time, my buddy Neil Ghosh opened for me. And the reason I had him open for me is because he lives in New York. And so for East Coast cities, that's an easy trip for him to make. And so I met Neil. I met Neil in the open mic scene in LA years ago. And he's how he introduced me to Michael Blaustein, which is so funny. And so he was one of those people that I would always see around town, and I always liked him. I always thought he was funny. He's just one of the good ones, you know, just a good egg, as my dad would say. And then he's kind of Michael's main, like one of Michael's main openers, and I actually went on tour with him and Michael right when Michael first started touring and headlining and like selling out shows, and we did this whole run through the South together. I'd never done anything like this before. I'll never forget. This was like end of 2022, I think. It was it was like November, I think, of 2022. It was like we did Raleigh Tuesday, Charlotte Wednesday, Nashville Thursday, and then Atlanta Friday, Saturday. It was crazy. And we drove everywhere through the cities. And when you go on tour like that with these two people, you spend so much time together that you just become so close, like a family. And these are people that I was already friends with. So now it's like taking the friendship to like a new level, and we just became so close after that. And you know, I don't see Neil as much because I don't live in. He moved to New York for music school a couple of years ago for grad school, and he's an amazing musician. And he's on tour with Michael a lot, so I'm not with them anymore really because I have my own stuff going on, and so I don't really see him that much. So it was such a fun excuse to be like, yo, come do some shows with me. And it was great. And dude, the show itself in Pittsburgh, something really so overall, by the way, I'll just say the show was awesome. It was such a fun show. Now, here's stuff that people at the show did not know, and a story for everyone else. So I get to the club, and at the club they have the background. Sometimes clubs have like a brick background. Some clubs have like a just a flat image, a color. This club has an LED wall with like an improv logo with brick, like a picture of bricks. And I remember last year that my camera, it like wouldn't work with my camera. The background kept flickering to the point of like the footage being unusable. And I think I can find the footage somewhere. So hopefully if I did, you can see it right now and see how just incredibly distracting and borderline unusable the footage is. And so coming back, it was like, okay, hopefully this isn't going to happen again. And sure enough, I turn on my camera and we're flickering. And I do want to say this, I always get to the venue very early to do things like this. Set up cameras, make sure everything's going to be okay, do a sound check. I'm not just pulling up right before the show. I'm there very early for instances like this. So I had a couple options here. Option number one, rock with the LED background and, do some sort of editing, post-production work where there's ways around it. I think you have to purchase like a plug-in to fix the thing. And it was like, I think I could make it work, but I don't know. Option number two is just to turn off the wall altogether and have a black background, which is kind of weird looking, but I would rather have that than the flickering, which is what I went with. I was like, I don't want to take the risk of this weird background thing. What if I get an unbelievable clip and I can't use it? So I said, all right, with the black background, I at least know what that is, right? But here's a new problem. I was wearing a plain black t-shirt. So with this plan, your boy's going to be a floating head in this black background. Like I'm doing a magic trick with the guys who take their head off and lower it on their body and remove their head, which, by the way, how in the fucking world do they do that? I don't know. Magic's crazy. And magic's real. I don't care. I love magic and I believe. Okay? I don't want to know how they do it. I'm in. It's magic. And so now I'm like, well, shit, man, I don't want to be a magician floating head guy on stage. And the club, who was very patiently waiting for me to open the doors basically and let people in, I was basically told them, I was like, yo, do you guys have like a white t-shirt, like a white improv t-shirt that I can wear for the show? And they were like, yeah, let's, the staff was like, yeah, we're going to go check. But if not, we can just like run down to the store and grab you one. And that offer was like the nicest thing that I think a club has ever offered me. Dude, they were going to go to a store and buy me a white shirt. And they said it not in like we can try to do this. It was very much like, oh yeah, we can just do that. Like, oh, we just do stuff like that. That's who we are. And I was so touched, man. And in the middle of me being touched, pause, weird sentence, in the middle of figuring this stuff out, the manager comes by with a white, like a beige improv shirt. He's like, here you go. Problem solved. And by the way, it's like one of my new favorite shirts. Look at that. It was awesome. And so you can see in the clip right here, that's the black backdrop, and that's the shirt that I got from them. And it was an extra large that I had to borrow scissors from them and cut the shirt because it was, you know how people say, oh, the shirt's like a dress. No. It was literally a dress. It was a dress. Not only was it a dress on me, it was like a conservative dress. It wasn't like a high-waisted, hoochie mama dress. This shit was like a Mormon dress on me. So your boy snipped it, wore it on stage, worked out just fine. And the show was really great. It was one of those shows, though, that, like I've said before, crowd work is gambling. People I picked just didn't have the best stories for me, and it is my job as a comedian to like make any situation funny, but the things I got were just not that funny, and I just was struggling with like how to spin this. And thankfully at like 10-15 minutes before the set was over, I dove into another part of the crowd, and I got such a fun moment, which I posted yesterday, about the guy talking about his girl broke up with him because she didn't like the way he was breathing. And it was such a great moment. And like I've said before, if I get that one banger moment, I'm happy. And so at the buzzer with 2 minutes left in the game, your boy got it. Your boy got a touchdown. I got that moment. And so I left happy. And I love Pittsburgh. I will always go back there. People always come out and pack it out for me. I believe I sold about 180 tickets, which is fantastic. And I'm very happy with that. And the manager like handing me my check, basically being like, hey man, like you've grown 20% since last year. Congratulations. Can't wait to have you back. Positivity. Thanks, Pittsburgh. After that, drove to Buffalo. Buffalo is a city I've never been before. And a lot of these cities on this tour are kind of like the second go-around cities, but there's a handful that I've never been before. There's cities, and I know all of them. It was like San Antonio I'd never been before. Providence I'd never been before. Buffalo is one. There's still cities that I need to go to, like Vegas, Vancouver, Madison. I'm a sicko, so I know all these places by heart that I haven't been. So it was cool knowing that I've never been to Buffalo to be like, oh, cool. Like, I know no one's ever seen this set before. This is going to be really fun. And tickets were moving pretty slow. I don't really know why. I've heard that it is a little bit hard to sell tickets there, but it was a Thursday night, and I was pretty hopeful. But, dude, tickets were slow. It was a long-ass drive, too. It was a 3.5-hour drive from Pittsburgh. Thank God I had Neil. We had a great time. We didn't shut up the whole time. Doing a road trip with a good buddy, totally fine. Dude, we drove through like legitimately nothing, dude. It was, we're like the back roads of Pennsylvania up through upstate New York. It was like, dude, it was just nothing. It was just woods. It was like, there were so many opportunities for locations to dump a body. That's what it was like. Serial killers must love living in these areas. There's so many options. You could dump a body there. You could put it there. No one's finding it. And then it starts snowing, covers the body. And I'm coming at this like I've done this before, but I'm thinking as if I was watching a Netflix documentary. This is perfect for them. So if you're a serial killer, upstate New York, middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, pretty great for you. But man, it was boring. There ain't nothing out there. And we got to the hotel, stayed in a hotel this night. For one night, I was like, let's just do a hotel. We'll share a room. For one night, who cares? I've realized that the most tired I get on the road is when I arrive in the second city. Because it's like we had the whole, I'm also 3 hours ahead on time, so I'm waking up weird, and we have this little like 4-hour drive, and I've just always felt just gassed in that second city. I felt the same way in Virginia Beach when I got there. The one-nighter back-to-back thing, the Wednesday, Thursday, different city shows, it's normal, but it's exhausting, especially when they're this far away. And I was beat in Buffalo. I was just like absolutely gassed. Ticket sales ended up being not great. I mean, look, objectively great. I sold, I think, 94 tickets in Buffalo. And I was, personally, I thought I passed the point of selling under 100 tickets in a city, but I guess not. I was surprised. I don't think anyone was panicking about it. I don't think Hollywood's going to kick me out, but it's a weird feeling to sell 130 in Richmond and Virginia Beach, which are very small markets, to then Buffalo, which is like, that's a place. That's a place last time I checked. And to sell not even 100 tickets. Very surprising. Interesting vibe when I got to the club. We had a very strange sound guy. Like, not very friendly. Didn't really. It was almost like I felt like I was being treated like I sold under 100 tickets. Like I was like not doing well. And I think I'm over analyzing this because everyone was very nice, but I just had this weird vibe from the sound guy. Like I was doing the sound check and I had to be like, "Hey man, can you turn down the music?" It's like just weird stuff like that, and Neil agreed that it was a weird vibe too, so it wasn't just me. And I want to clarify, everyone at the club was nice. It was just the sound guy I got a weird vibe from. So just keeping it real, keeping it a buck, okay? And it was so fun, dude. Basketball's back, and I've talked about my massive fandom for the Dallas Mavericks, and their first game was the night of Buffalo. And so Neil and I got to sit in the green room and eat 12,000 chicken tenders and watch the first half of the first game for my team, and it was lovely. It was so lovely that I was like, do I have to do the show? I kind of just want to watch this game. But luckily, the Buffalo crowd was awesome. They were so good, man. They were so fun. It was a very similar. What's nice is that selling 90 whatever tickets is actually not that bad in that club because those clubs seat like 270. So 90 is not. You don't feel it as much. You still feel like you can fill in the front section of the club and have like a fun show. So it was a fun show, but it was a similar vibe to Pittsburgh where like earlier in the middle of the show when I was trying to do a little bit of crowd work, I just was kind of picking wrong and not getting enough material for me to do with, doing my best, but just, again, like not finding that moment. And then sure enough, towards the end of the show, I look to the side and I see these two dudes with like fishing hats on. I start talking to them and I get a great moment, which I posted last week. And I was like, okay, good. Finally, I got my moment right at the buzzer again. Your boy's clutch. I'm clutch in the fourth quarter. Okay? I'm Kyrie. I'm clutch. So I left feeling like, okay, good. I got the moment. We're good. And I didn't know how the meet and greet was going to go because there's not that many people. And sure enough, it was like one of the longest meet and greets I've ever done. It felt like everyone from the show stopped and wanted to say what's up to me. Some of the most merch I've ever sold. Somehow. Like, it was, I sold more merch there than I did in New York City 2 shows. Explain that to me, because I don't understand. But dude, I really felt the love in Buffalo. Really felt it, man. I just really felt like these people were genuine fans and genuine people and were just really stoked that I was there. And I felt that. And if you're people in Buffalo watching this or listening to this, thank you. I felt that shit. And I don't know when I'll be back, just because I didn't sell a lot of tickets. And it's also so far from home for me, but I still would like to go back because I really, again, like I felt the love in Pittsburgh. Shout out. Sorry, Buffalo. And both places. Shout out both places. So those are those shows. And then I took a flight home, nonstop flight on JetBlue from Buffalo back to LA. And that was during that World Series game where Freddie Freeman hit the grand slam walk-off home run. So I watched that on a flight and people were like cheering on the flight. I was sitting next to a woman who was like a very big fan. And it was actually really, really cool to watch that on a plane of all places. And I don't know, it's just such a unique situation. So yeah, Dodgers won the World Series. That was cool, I think. I don't really care about baseball, and I grew up a Giants fan, and I was raised to like hate the Dodgers, but I don't really feel that anymore. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, cool. All right. There's some Dodgers fans in my life. They seem happy. That's cool. Whatever. And I also got this sweatshirt from Buffalo, which is so fire, and I'm gonna wear it all the time. And it's not a dress on me, so that's nice. All right, let's pivot, dude. I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and did stand-up comedy, and that's not something I ever thought I would say, but I did it. Here's the background. Here's what happened: is I took on this show with about a month's notice. And what happened is that my agent, who, by the way, I got to shout out my agent right now, Danielle, for making it on the Variety's list of Hollywood's new leaders. Shout out. It was so cool seeing her on that list. She was one of the few agents who were on that list, and I actually had a call with her that same day that she posted about it, and she was genuinely stoked about it, which means it was a big deal, and it was really cool to see. And really like exciting for me to know that like my agent is one of these like not even up and coming, like established as like a fucking showbiz leader. And it was just really cool, man. I'm really happy for her. And it was just really cool to see that. So shout out to her. And so she hit me up about a month before these shows. Actually, about a month ago. And was like, hey, they had a fallout. Basically like one of her clients couldn't do the shows anymore in Albuquerque at this club for a weekend. And she was like, do you want to do it? And looked at my schedule and I was like, I'm free. And I know Albuquerque is easy to get to. I can fly there like the same day of the shows. And I was like, I talked to Kaylee. I was like, what do you think? I like to involve her in these decisions because they affect her as well. And she was like, I think you should do it. So I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to Albuquerque. Cue the Breaking Bad theme song. Which I don't want to cue because I'll get demonetized. And I took it because of, it's like money, right? Easy money. Reps, 4 opportunities to headline and continue to grow, and easy travel. Easy to get there. And reps. It was an opportunity that was too easy to pass up, and it was an interesting system where I've talked about in the past, doing a little biz talk right now. Sometimes when you do a show or a weekend at a club, you get a guarantee. Basically, like, here's the amount of money you're going to get no matter what. No matter how many tickets you sell, this is how much you'll make. Unless you hit a certain amount of tickets that, like, equals more than that number. That's as simple as I can explain it. And I hope that made sense. And for this one, there was no, oh, sell this many tickets, make more than that money. It was like, here's the guarantee, but if you sell out a show, they will give you a bonus for each sellout. But again, I know my demand in cities, and I knew that Albuquerque, I didn't have a huge demand. So I kind of didn't promote the shows that much because I knew that, I wasn't going to be able to sell out these shows necessarily, and I don't have a huge fan base, so I wanted to, if I'm going to promote shows, I want them to, if I'm going to get people's eyeballs on some promotional materials, I want them to be some like really important cities that I'm on the hook for selling a lot of tickets in, that like my paycheck will depend on, and my standing in Hollywood would depend on. Albuquerque's kind of an exception, and so I wasn't heavily promoting it, but I was still excited to go. And what made it so cool is that it was I was just treated really well, man. The club was inside of a casino. It was called Caseda's Comedy Club, and Hank's partner in Breaking Bad. I don't remember the guy's name. I should really look it up, huh? The actor's name's Stephen Michael Caseda, and he played like the Hispanic cop guy in Breaking Bad. Dude, what's his name? I wish I could find out his name on... Who did he play? Oh, Steven Gomez. That means nothing to me. Didn't even need to look it up. Yeah, he's the level-headed partner of Hank Schrader. Yeah, so he's obviously like everyone knows who this dude is. So this dude, I think, is from Albuquerque, and he opened a comedy club there. And that's what I did. That's the club I did. And it was in a casino. And what was so cool is, bro, they sent a Cadillac Escalade car service to pick me up at the airport and drop me off after. Ballin'. Do you know how nice that feels? To not get into a Honda Civic when I land in Albuquerque, which is one of the scariest places I've ever been. I stayed... One time I was stranded there and I had to stay there for a layover. I stayed in an Airbnb outside of the airport in Albuquerque, and I'm not joking. It was the scariest place I've ever been in my life. The Uber driver dropped me off and was like, hey, man, people get shot here all the time. Anyways, see you later. Not joking. And also, the Airbnb cost $14. Yep. $14. That was my view of Albuquerque. This was very different. We got the Escalade pickup. What up? We got a casino. It felt very different. I was like, walking around the casino. They had TVs. I was like on the TV being promoted for the shows, which was cool and funny to like. I almost wanted to like walk around and like see if people recognize me. Like, hey, so, oh, whoa, what's up there? Whoa, who's that guy? Oh, funny. He seems funny. Like, just no one saw. And it was kind of weird staying in a casino because it was just in the middle of nowhere. So I like didn't really leave the casino. It felt like I was on a cruise ship because it was like hotel is in the casino, club is in the casino. There's nothing around it. I eat my meals at the club, and it was very surreal. It was not like anything I've experienced before, but I still felt good to be there. And it was also just because like, dude, just the travel was so easy. It was just like, it makes everything easy when I can get there, like in and out. I'm in there Friday. I'm out there Sunday morning. It was just easy. And what's nice about the hotel being in the same area as the club is that I can be up in my room. Like I went downstairs to do like a sound check early on, but then I can just be up in my room chilling until showtime. I had local openers who one of them I became friends with, who's an LA comic, Mace, shout out. I don't remember his last name. If you want to look him up, just look at the people I'm following and type in Mayce. He's so funny. It's such a good dude. So he was featuring, and we made friends with each other. What a funny thing. That sounds like an alien term I just said. We made friends with each other. I got to like stay in my room until the show, so I didn't have any obligations. I got to just go be the comedian. I wasn't worried about ticket sales. It was just a weekend of like, be a comedian. We're paying you to be a comedian. And I'm like, I can do that. That I can do. And that I did do. And they wanted me to do 45 minutes. typically I do, how much more reclined can I get? Typically I do like 50 minutes, something like that. And they were like, do 45 minutes. And I was like, you got it. And, dude, the early show was packed. I think the club seats 300. Like the first show had like 150 in there, and it was awesome. It was really fun. I had such a fun crowd work moment where I was talking to this dude, and the dude was like, "Hey, ask my wife what she does for work." And I was like, "What are you, my assistant? Like, don't tell me what to do. I got it." And then I asked her, and she's like, "I'm a sex therapist." And I was like, "Fuck, great call, man. Thank you. You're hired." It was such a fun moment, and I had such a good time there. That first show was like legit so much fun. And then late show comes, and there was 35 people. Now, that doesn't scare me. I've been doing stand up for 10 years officially now, and I've done every type of show. I've done the packed shows, the empty shows. I've done every show you can imagine. And so 35 people did not scare me. And like it was so fun. I just got into the mode. It's like late show Will, which I've talked about before, where it's like the pressure's off. I'm just going to be loose and silly and fun and get weird. And they were here for it. I was like killing for 35 people. And I'm very humble. I'm not just going to be like, oh, the people who say they crush or they kill all the time, they don't, okay? And I'm just saying that I was killing for 35 people, okay? And I find that to be way more fulfilling than crushing for a packed room. Anyone can do that. Any regular comic can do that. But when it's 35 people and you got to do 45 minutes, that takes skill. And not only does it take skill, but it just makes me feel so confident in my abilities when I'm able to do that successfully. So then I basically had those first two shows and felt great. I do want to, by the way, I feel bad about not giving you my new friend's name, because I was like, look it up like a fucking asshole. His last name is Galani, Mace Galani, Galoni. Very funny, very sweet guy. He's Canadian, which means he's a goddamn sweetheart. Okay, clear my conscience. So Saturday hits, and I wake up, and I sleep like shit Friday night, and I don't know why. I think, dude, it's hard after headlining shows to go to sleep sober. There's just, like, I'm tired, but my brain is just cooking, dude. It's like the adrenaline is just with you, and I know I should take like a little bit of melatonin or something to help me fall asleep, and I just didn't. And so I just slept like shit. And so I woke up on Saturday in like a bad vibe, weird vibe. And I don't know, it was just all day I was feeling like super anxious. I think because I felt like, I legitimately felt like I was on a cruise ship, and just felt just weird, like kind of like get me out of here feeling, which I've never felt on the road before. Normally I'm like excited and grateful and nervous and antsy and, so many different things. But I was just kind of like, yo, I'm feeling off. I was feeling very shaky on Saturday, and I was like, I can't believe I have to do 2 shows tonight. And I kept having these weird interactions too that made me feel a little weird. Like I got in the elevator with people who were at the show the night before and were in the front and didn't laugh. And I'm in the elevator with them, and they didn't say anything. And I had to pretend like I didn't recognize them. And they probably were pretending like they didn't recognize me. It was so uncomfortable. So I had that. And then the night before, I forgot to mention this, I had some weird moment that weirdly stuck with me. I was standing out at kind of like the meet and greet area. It was me and Mace. And after the Friday late show for 30 people that I thought I did great, this guy who came by himself walked like right by me and was like, "Hey, Mace, great set. I thought that was awesome," and then left. Now, I don't need every single person to like me. That's not something I need. I know that's unrealistic. But the way this guy did it, it just felt disrespectful. It felt like he was going out of his way to not give me any sort of compliment or to basically tell me like I did not like you and I want you to feel that. And again, I don't need praise. I don't need him to like me, but I think just it would have been common decency to be like, nice job. Or just any sort of acknowledgement like, oh, hey, good set. Or just anything. Even if he lied, it's just weird to like ignore me and walk up to the opener next to me and be like, hey, Mace, you were great. So maybe I'm wrong for feeling offended, but it was kind of offensive. Sorry, human. So I had these weird moments that kind of stuck with me. It was the elevator. It was just feeling like I was on a cruise ship. There was not really any food there. It was like it was like one place you could eat, and it was packed with old people, which, by the way, the casino was just old people. And I was starting to get so impatient. I was like in line for coffee, and I was like, dude, I'll just pay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's a chip. You got to put it in. And I know that's too hard. I'll just pay for your coffee. Please, God. I was getting so annoyed. And like they were giving out, it was so bizarre, man. They were doing a frying pan giveaway. So like 200 old people came to this casino to get their frying pan. And they're walking around. Everyone in the casino was walking around with a frying pan. And I was like, this is the Twilight Zone. And I couldn't go eat at the restaurant because there was a line of 50 old people with their frying pans eating burritos. And I was like, what do I do? So there was a bowling alley upstairs. And I went to the bowling alley and ordered a cheeseburger. And that's what I had for breakfast. And I forgot ketchup. So I had a dry cheeseburger for breakfast. And so all of these things were why I was a little bit like, hey, get me out of here. But your boy's a professional, okay? If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities. So when the shows came, I was like, let's rock. I drank half a Celsius. I did a workout. I was like, let's dance. And I go there, and the Saturday early show fucking ripped. It was so fun. Same thing as last night, about 150 people, and I was on it. Your boy was cooking. It was a lot of fun. I felt very good about the show. And again, a lot of these people were like not my fans, so these aren't like a walk in the park, right? I still have to like be relatable enough to people who don't know me. And like, I don't know what the other word is. The word I was going to say was like consumable, just malleable enough that anyone can like me. And so I pride myself on that. And so the shows went great. That show went great. Some dude bought a tour poster and paid me with a poker chip, a $25 poker chip. And that was all he had. And I was like, sure, I'll take it. So that was funny. And then we do the late show. And there's about 50 people there. And I was watching in the back of the room. And it was tough. It was like 50 people that were held hostage. That's what it felt like. And based off Friday late show, I was like, I got it. I did better with less people than this. It should be fine. So I was not freaking out, but I had the awareness of like, oh, they're tough. Oh, they're tough. And I was like, all right, man, one more show, and then you did it. And again, I don't want to like take away from the gratitude I felt for these opportunities. I want there still to be space for me to have human emotions and human anxieties in a day. So I want to make sure to make that known, right? I just want to say that. Dude, I get on stage and it was actually really great at first. I was doing the kind of the loose late show Will riff thing. I actually didn't do the normal set that I did, kind of like what the special will be. I effectively just did a bunch of other stuff. Like all the other material I've been working on. I just did that because I was like, I can't do the same set again. I already know it works. I need to have one where it's like a little more fun. And it started off really good. I had this amazing moment with this dude named Lorenzo who, like, I had this bit about how someone wanted to buy my underwear online, and I effectively asked him if he would ever do that, and it turned into this giant crazy thing, and he was like the funniest audience member ever. I'm going to post the clip next week, but it was so much fun, and you'll see why. But man, the whole show just started to just slowly drift away from me, though. These people were slowly losing interest. I had to be so sharp to keep them engaged. And it was like, there was a girl who was like sitting in the front, like sitting, like facing away from the stage, just playing with her hair. And I was like, okay. One dude off to the side was asleep, just asleep, had too much to drink, sleeping. I had fun with it, of course, but he was sleeping. And like 80% of the show was great, but then that last like 20% was just like I had ankle weights on and I was trying to climb up a hill. I was like, oh my God, come on, man. Let's get through it. And I finally got through it. I felt really good about it because of the early moments, but it was still just like, bro, work. But I honestly feel like I was 4 for 4 on shows that I felt really good about. I felt great. And I went to play, dude, I took the chip and I was going to go play roulette. Full disclosure, when the shows were done, smoked a joint outside. Hey, my job is done. Time to have some fun. And I go to the roulette table and I give the woman $25 and she gives me $5 in change in chips to disperse how I want on roulette. And I was so tired and so stoned that she handed me all these $5 chips and I could not for the life of me do the math. I did not know how many she handed me. I believe, with $25, she handed me 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 5 chips. And I was like, no, I gave you 25. She's like, I know. I'm like, yeah, but this is enough? This is 25? She says, yeah. I said, okay. I was just trying to count them. And I was so out of it that I was like, hopefully she's right. Dude, it was so embarrassing. Thank God I was at the table alone. They would have probably escorted me out because they thought I was a lunatic. This guy can't count to 25 in integrals of 5. Did I lose it all? Yeah, of course I lost it all. It's roulette. The fuck do you think's going to happen? Shout out to Albuquerque. What a time. What a ride. What an experience. And I got back home and took a too early of a flight, and I actually ended up spending the day with my best buddy from college, Steve, who was on one of the first ever podcast episodes I did. So the OGs will remember who I'm talking about. He came into town. We had an amazing day on Sunday, and I'm still just kind of recovering from. I mean, it's Wednesday now. I'm still pretty tired and out of it, and it's just been a lot lately. So if anyone came to those Albuquerque shows, shout out. I had a great time. I'm going to give you guys real quick the unannounced tour dates that, again, are not released yet. And I'm dropping them next week, but these are just for you guys to save the dates in your phone. Ready? Here they are. January 21st, Orlando, Florida. January 23rd, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Or I'm sorry, that'll be Dania Beach at that Dania Improv. January 31st through February 1st, Portland, Maine. February 11th, Madison, Wisconsin. February 12th, Appleton, Wisconsin. February 13th, Milwaukee. February 20th, Kansas City. February 21st to the 22nd, Springfield, Missouri. March 5th, Columbus. March 6th, Cincinnati, which is that Liberty Township Club. March 14th through the 15th, Salt Lake City. March 21st to the 22nd, Toronto. Those are all my new tour dates that I'm going to be dropping next week. Want to give you guys those before anyone else. I'm still adding dates. I have dates for April and May that I don't want to announce yet, but I do want to say that I am going to be shooting my special April 4th and 5th in Sacramento at the Punchline. Okay? And the filming date will be April 5th, Saturday night. I'm filming both shows in Sacramento at the Punchline. Tickets are not on sale yet, but when they are, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But again, if you live in the Bay Area, I'm not doing any Bay Area shows until the summer. So if you want to, or if you're able to come out to Sacramento for the special, that would be amazing. And I would love to see you guys there. More to come on that, but I want to just give you guys the first kind of info on that. So April 5th, Sacramento special. Can't believe it. So crazy. All right, dude, that's the pod. Wow, longest podcast in a long time. This was a lot, man. I hope that this is one of those pods that was so long that I'm like, hopefully this was good. I don't know. And sure enough, I could probably think that instead of saying it to you guys, but I keep it real with you guys, always, and I always will. Head into the description for tickets to the shows. Cleveland, next Friday, and then Philly, Denver, Phoenix, Nashville, also Minneapolis, January 11th. All right, man. Those are the dates. Those are the pod. I really want to do a Cabo recap with Kaylee coming soon. That's what I would like to put out next. And also recap the Cleveland and Philly shows. And probably a couple weeks before I put those out. But again, I'm checking in with you guys every couple weeks with a longer podcast. And I really appreciate the support. I've felt a ton of gratitude, and I see the nice messages. I see the nice comments, and it's just me doing everything, so I really feel the love, and thank you guys. I appreciate you for watching and listening, and I will see you in a couple weeks. Take care. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys soon.